Here you go, my friends, the George Foreman grill, created by George Foreman himself, the American boxer. At least it's his brand. I don't know if he created the actual grill. Comes in a million different sizes, and this video isn't even sponsored by George Foreman, but we love this thing. If you've watched Brothers Green, we use it all the time, and a lot of you guys have requested some sort of ultimate guide to the Foreman grill. So I'm gonna give you a bunch of my favorite recipes that I created specifically for this thing. Now, the interesting thing about the Foreman is that we use it for purposes that it's not really intended for. So this thing was advertised to be like the lean cooker. It was one of those original lean cookers for diets. So you put the burger on here, you close it, and it's built on a slant, so it cooks out all of the grease. That's a bunch of BS. You want to keep all that flavor, but we like it because it is non-stick. You get to cook on both sides of this thing, so you can close it. You've got simultaneous grilling action. It's one setting. It's called plug it in the wall. There's no heat settings you have to worry about. You can panini-fy any sandwich, just close it. You can stir fry on it. Great for college dorms. It's electric, so you don't have to deal with any gas, so you can cook in a lot of indoor places that you normally would not be able to cook. We love it, so we are going to give you the ultimate guide, my favorite 5 recipes created just for this Foreman grill. Now, like I said in the beginning, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is just take the grease tray that it comes with, and we're not gonna use that to collect grease, but we're gonna use it to prop it up. So now we've got this perfectly flat grill, no type of angle, so your food's not gonna roll right off. We've got a flat cooktop. Okay, let's get it started with the reverse deconstructed bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. I know it sounds crazy, but just stick with me. This is 5 ingredients right here, just like all of these recipes. First, we are going to prepare all of the ingredients that go inside the sushi roll. Get some bacon in there and get that nice and crispy. Just close the lid on that, give it a flip over at one point, and just cook it to that desired temperature. Take off that bacon and reserve a little bit of that fat because we are going in with a nice egg. Just crack an egg on there and break it up because we're gonna fry this egg. Close the grill for just about a minute and that thing will be cooked through, and you can just remove that right off the Foreman. Then I took a bagel and I just sliced a few pieces nice and thin and toasted those off in the Foreman grill until I got some nice toasty marks. Take that bagel off and we're just gonna slice up all the ingredients. So first off, I turned those bacon strips into bacon bits, and then I cut thin strips out of the egg and the bagel. Now let's bring this thing together. We are gonna melt some cheese on this Foreman grill, and it's a non-stick surface, so don't worry about it. Just sprinkle on all that cheese in a nice even layer, and then close the grill. You're gonna open the grill after a few minutes and you'll see it's starting to get nice and crispy, and that browning, you'll see that's coming through just like that. Just start to check the edges to see if it's flippable, and then when you're ready to go, just flip that over, but we're only gonna cook it for like 30 seconds on the one side because we still want a little bit of melty cheese so all those ingredients hold in. Now we've got to work fast, we've got to roll, and this thing's gonna harden pretty quick. So take your bagel, lay that out, take those egg strips, hit it with some of those bacon bits, and then just drizzle over a little bit of ketchup and wrap it up. Slice that into your little sushi bites, and I did hit that with a little bit of chive action. That's an extra ingredient just for garnish, just for you guys to make it look nice and pretty. For all you vegans out there, I did not forget about you. Even though this is a grill, doesn't mean we can't grill up some vegetarian vegan options. So we are gonna do the vegan tofu wrap. I took some extra firm tofu and I had already dried that off in a towel just to make sure it will get nice and crispy. And I cut them into these little cube strips, got a little oil on the George Foreman grill and just placed those down just like that. I also hit the top with just a little bit of oil so we get it crispy on all sides. Close that grill and just grill it for a few minutes. Open up the Foreman and just give them a flip, and this is why I love the Foreman, because you only need to flip them once to get all 4 sides crispy. What an invention. Close that Foreman again and just let it cook until you got that desired crispiness you're looking for. That's all we're gonna do for the cooking of this thing. So we're ready to assemble. Get out your tortilla. I've got a nice whole wheat tortilla here, and I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of peanut sauce. That recipe for my homemade peanut sauce is in the description below, but you can use a store-bought peanut sauce as well. Add your tofu strips, hit it with a little bit of sliced fresh pepper. Then I top that with some nice fresh sprouts and a little bit more of that peanut dressing on top. Then to fold this sucker, we're just gonna wrap it up just like that and fold in the sides and continue to roll. And then you cannot forget to grill the actual wrap. That's what's really gonna make this thing special. Hit the Foreman with just a little bit of oil lubrication, throw it on there, seam side down, close the top, and just cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes until crispy. Here we go. We are moving on to one of my favorites, the Japanese steak Negimaki. I don't know if you guys have ever had this dish, but it is one of my favorites. Next time you're at a sushi restaurant, ask for the Negimaki. Some places will have it, but if you don't want to go out to a sushi restaurant, here you go. Homemade Negimaki coming at you now, and here are the 5 ingredients for success. So find yourself some thin cut steak. I'm using top round. It's one of the cheaper cuts, but anything in your supermarket that is nice and thin, or you can buy a thick cut and just slice it up nice and thin. We're gonna take the thin steak and just cut it up into 2-inch strips, just like that. Time for some marination on that steak, and we're just gonna use a little bit of teriyaki sauce, which has all of those delicious flavors all in one sauce. You've got your sugar, you've got your soy, your mirin. It's freaking fantastic. So just let that marinate for at least 30 minutes, but you can let that sit in your fridge overnight if you want extra infusion of that marinade. Take your green onion, AKA those scallywags, and just chop off the stems. Then we're gonna take some carrot and we're just gonna julienne that into these nice thin little slices. Oil your grill and fry those green onions up. Make sure you close that lid to get a quick sear on both sides. Look at those grill marks, that is fantastic. Take those off and we're gonna go on with our carrots and just grill those up till they're cooked through. Now take out your marinated strips and lay them on the board and just hit it with those scallywags and then a little bit of carrot and just roll those puppies up. Let's get ready to rock those right on the grill. So get a little bit of oil on that preheated grill and just toss on those rolls. And we're dealing with very thin steak, so the last thing you want to do is overcook it, because then you've got this chewy Negimaki. So you're only gonna grill it for about 2 to 3 minutes. That's all it needs to just give it a nice medium doneness. Open that thing up and look at that. That is amazing. And if you look at the bottom of these things, you can see all of that caramelizing from the sugars of the teriyaki sauce, and that's what you're looking for. So just make sure you rub them down in that action. Let's plate these up, and all we got to do is hit it with a little bit of sesame seed for garnish and for a little extra flavor kick. All right, I'm not really sure what to call this next recipe, but it's similar to a Hot Pocket, a calzone, a stromboli, call it whatever you want. But the idea is we are taking a Reuben and we are stuffing it in some nice crispy dough. Here are your 5 ingredients, and let's get it going. We're gonna take that dough and just roll it out in a little bit of oil. That's gonna make it super non-stick on your board. I started with my hands and then I upgraded to the rolling pin. Then we're going on with those classic Reuben ingredients. Start with the Swiss cheese. Then, of course, you cannot forget the corned beef, that delicious sliced corned beef. I drizzled on a little bit of Thousand Island dressing. I think the traditional is Russian dressing, but any type of creamy dressing that looks similar to that, you're good to go. It's all about the creaminess. Add that sauerkraut on there, and I figured it needed another layer of Swiss to really bring it together. Now just fold it over and seal it up. I used a little fork to seal up those sides. It didn't end up sealing perfectly, so I would try a little harder than I did. I took a little bit of oil and threw that thing right on there and got it crispy on both sides first, but you can see it's not really cooking through, it's not puffing up. So I figured I would take some tin foil just like that and create a little oven structure. Now we've got all of that heat contained so we can really cook up that dough, and it actually worked. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work, but I cooked it for about 3 to 4 more minutes and checked it, and there you go. It's nice and puffed up. It is cooking through. That thing is ready to get off the grill and slice up, and my friend Matt was helping me out with the filming, and just check out this slice game. So he hits it with the 3 right there, and that swoop. Damn, Matt, that is good work right there. I don't know how you pulled that off. And we always finish it off with a little bit of dessert because you can't forget the sweetness. I gotta have a little cleanser at the end of my meal. And this one is very unique. It is the coconut mango rice cakey. I don't even know what this one is called, but I kind of mimic those sesame balls you see in Chinatown. You know, these things. Yes, that's where the idea came from, and here are your 5 ingredients. So first I am going to start off with a little bit of coconut milk and put that in a pan, and then just add a little bit of sugar. I'm adding 2 scoops just like that, and heat that up on the burner just till that sugar is dissolved. And right there you have a delicious coconut cream, and we're gonna use that for 2 things. So first, let's start off with our batter. Once that cream cools down, we are gonna add some sweet rice flour or glutinous rice flour. If you guys have never seen this, it's basically flour that's made out of sticky rice, and it makes things nice and chewy. I just eyeballed it until it started to come together into a nice dough and just kneaded it out a little bit until you've got a nice smooth dough. I took a plastic bag and just cut that in half, and we're just gonna take a dough ball and press it out in between that. That's gonna give you a nice non-stick surface. I chopped up a bunch of mango, and that's our entire filling, 1 ingredient, and just stuff a little bit of that and flip it over just like you're rolling out a dumpling. Seal up those sides, and then what you do is take a little bit of water and just dampen the outsides, and then dip those into the sesame seeds. So you've got a nice coating of sesame seeds. Get your Foreman preheated, hit it with a little bit of oil, and then just go on with those sticky rice dumps. Grill it up for a few minutes until you start seeing a little bit of brownage on the outside. You want that outside nice and crispy, but you still want to retain some chewiness on the inside. Take that off, plate them up, and you remember that coconut cream we reserved? Well, here you go. We are going on with just some spoons of that to really round it out and give it that creaminess. What a way to end it off. These things were fantastic. So this one was definitely the wild card. Untested, a little bit crazy, but it is coming in strong. The coconut cream, so good. The chewiness. One of our favorites for sure. Oh yeah. That's it, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for George Foreman for creating this crazy gadget. Hopefully one day Brothers Green will create something like this, our own version that we don't have to prop up. The all-purpose Brothers Green cooker. If you guys are looking for something like that, make sure you comment in below and let us know, and we will get to work.